What's up, everyone, and welcome back to HBCU Game Day. We have a loaded SIAC season preview for you guys featuring the Benedict Tigers, who are looking to run it back after an undefeated season in their first SIAC championship. We also have 4 new head coaches in the SIAC. We have to give you guys a preview on those teams. I am Symone Stanley. He is Duane Walker. Let's get into it. How are you feeling, Duane?
Feeling fantastic. Ready for the 2023 season to commence. Let's get it on.
So let's start with Benedict because they went undefeated last season, won their first SIAC championship. They are expected to run it back.
Well, listen, a lot of first for Berry's squad. They ran the table 10-0 overall in the conference, overall 7-0 in the conference. What can you say? A lot of first of the program. First time they get a national ranking. First time they win an SIAC championship. Just dynamic what they've done with that program.
And Benedict is going to have a new guy under center. Their quarterback last year, Eric Phoenix, went on and moved on in the transfer portal. We talked with head coach Berry at the SIAC Media Day, and he's not fazed about having a new guy calling the shots.
Well, he's not. With Eric being gone now, who's going to get the nod? We don't know. If it were my choice, I'm going to say he's going to go with a guy like Zay Foster, who got Coach Berry a signature win a couple years ago in an upset victory over Miles College, which upset their homecoming. So that's my pick. But he could also go with a guy, there's Zay Rice that he could go with. They also have a transfer quarterback from Lehigh University as well. So we won't know until opening night.
Yeah, so we're going to be interested in that because we know a lot of things start and end with the quarterback. But it was Benedict's defense last season that really carried the team, only giving up an average of around 13 points per game last year. That is a heck of an accomplishment. And head coach Berry told us at Media Day that the defense could be even better than last season. I don't know how you do any better than that, but let's talk about the defense.
Well, you can, and we can start from the defense, but it all started back when Berry came back in 2020 when he was hired. He brought over Jordan Odefer, his defensive coordinator, as well as a linebacker coach, but he also heads the recruiting. And when he came over from Southeastern, he brought his Louie, or should I say he brought his Luby, Lubert Donellis. Lubert Donellis. This young man is outstanding. Defensive Player of the Year last year, preseason All-SAC, and Defensive Player of the Year this year. He was a first-team All-American, Division II All-American, first time in the program's history. He's on the Black College Football Hall of Fame watch list coming up this upcoming season. So he's got a lot of accolades, definitely worthy of it. And also, what's most important, he's an academic scholar as well.
And Lubert was also the HBCU Game Day Division II Defensive Player of the Year. So shout out to Lubert Donellis on that accomplishment.
And listen, and not only that, look at inside of his numbers. 21 totals of lost yardage behind line of scrimmage, 14 sacks, 21 tackles for loss, I was saying, 4 fumble recoveries. He forced 3 fumbles. He scored a couple of touchdowns. What else did he do? He blocked a punt. He got credit for a safety. There's nothing this young man can't accomplish.
And he told us when we talked to him at Media Day that he was working on his game all off season. So we're super excited to see what he looks like because according to him, he's going to be even better than that. So Benedict is still the top dog in the SIAC, one of the top dogs in Division II football. So we're going to be on the lookout for them all season long.
Not to interrupt you, but you realize they do have 9 preseason All-SIAC selection. So big expectations for that program.
We're going to be on the lookout. Now, we have 4 new head coaches in the SIAC, starting with Kentucky State University. Let's talk about what we can expect to see from them in their first year. Last season, going 4-6, 4-3 in the conference, though, so they did have a winning record in the SIAC. We got to talk to their new head coach at the SIAC Media Day, and he's saying they're still expecting to win. Even though he's a new coach, the expectation is to still win. There shouldn't be an adjustment period.
Well, Felton Huggins takes over, the former National Football League wide receiver, and it's definitely going to be a new day with the Kentucky State Thoroughbreds. Why? No more wishbone, no 3 running back set, no more 3 yards in a cloud of dust. They're going to have an aerial attack which is going to open up that offense. So really, what can you expect? I think they're going to finish better than people give them credit for. I think they're predicted to finish 12th in the conference. I think they're going to be a little bit better than that, especially since they're opening up that aerial attack. And they were 4-3 in conference last year.
Tuskegee, they're another team that is going to have a new head coach under the realm. This guy, a former player at Tuskegee. Last season, they went 8-3, 7-0 in the conference. They were the team that went to the SIAC championship, fell short to Benedict. It was going to be hard to stop that Benedict train last season, and Tuskegee did put up a good fight. They're expected to be competitive again this season, even with having a new head coach.
Well, Aaron James, the coach for Tuskegee now, was hand-selected by Reginald Ruffin, who now moves to a full-time role as the athletic director. He's been groomed for this for years. Followed Coach Reginald Ruffin over at Miles, now with Tuskegee. Now, let's not forget that Aaron James, when he played with Tuskegee, and by the way, they've won 11 SIAC championships since 2000, and he's a part of that lineage. He went 42-5 as a starting quarterback, and he'll be quick to tell you that. So a lot of expectations for Aaron James.
Yes, now Morehouse. Last season, Morehouse struggled. They were 1-9 last season.
Yes.
They only have 2 home games this year. They have a lot of classics that they're going to be on the road competing in, and they only have their senior day and their homecoming at home this year.
Yes.
They do play Clark, Atlanta, and that rivalry game at Clark, so at least that game will be local, but they only play 2 games at their home field.
Even though the Morehouse Maroon Tigers under first-year coach Gerard Wiltshire, they were 1-9 last year. Of course, Rich Freeman no longer there. But for a program that, in my opinion, and this is no offense, that is underachieved for a lot of years, you have the brand Morehouse, which is an international brand. There's no reason, in my opinion, why that program should be struggling athletically. They just hired Harold Ellis as the new athletic director. And so there's a newfound, I would say, optimism at Morehouse College, and hopefully it will transfer onto the football field. But despite their 1-9 record, they've got a lot of high-profile football games coming up. They traveled to New York to play. They traveled to Washington, D.C. to play. So, again, that national brand, I'd like to see it kind of, mesh up with the athletic program. Yes.
You talk about that big brand, and also they're in a big market, and not only just in the Southeast, but also in Georgia and Atlanta, where it's a lot of really, really top football talent, recruiting-wise. So hopefully with the new head coach, we can kind of see a shift, and we can see Morehouse really starting to be more competitive in the SIC, because it's the ATL. We need some good HBCU football in ATL.
Yeah.
So moving on, Albany State University, that's a program that's had a lot of success recently in the SIAC. They have built a brand on winning. 7-3 last season, 5-2 in the conference. Head coach Quinn Gray is now taking over for Coach G, who moved on last season and left the bar high for winning at Albany.
Albany State, they have a history tradition in competing for SIAC championships, and Coach G left the cabinet full, if you will, for Coach Quinn Gray. Coach Gray was a senior analyst with Memphis. He comes in with a lot of pedigree, a former National Football League quarterback, played with Jacksonville as well as the Kansas City Chiefs, and also won a championship in the Galaxy Bowl. So here's a guy that has that pedigree, has the experience, and I think the train is going to continue in that direction for this program.
All right, well, we will see. We talked about the Benedict College Tigers, who are the top dogs right now, the top cats.
Yes.
We talked about the 4 new head coaches in the SIAC.
Yes.
Let's talk about a team that could be the biggest threat to Benedict this season, because a lot of people are already placing those bets on Benedict running it back.
Well, if you ask me, the biggest threat is going to be, and by numbers, and no team coming into the season has more hype than Benedict, are the Fort Valley State Wildcats. They have double-digit preseason SIAC honors, 10 to be exact. They have a couple of players around the Black College Hall of Fame watch list. So with 10 preseason SIAC performers, including their quarterback, Mr. Durham, Kelvin Durham, there's a lot of expectations. And so I think that they'll be the biggest threat to the Tigers this upcoming season.
So we talked about the Benedict College Tigers. We talked about Fort Valley State, Tuskegee, Albany, those teams that are expected to be towards the top of the SIAC this season.
Yes.
What's a team that people are sleeping on? Maybe not necessarily to go on and win the championship, but a team that could go under the radar and cause some fits for these other programs.
Well, I'll tell you one of those programs that jump out to me is a program like Lane College. Vyman Brown has done an outstanding job with that program, but to me, it doesn't seem like their program gets the respect that they deserve. And I don't know if that has to do with facilities. They have a dynamic weight room, by the way, but the field of play, I think that needs to be improved. But on the field, their issues, they've had a difficult time finding opponents to play. They had a couple of signature games last year. They opened up the 2022 season with a 6-point loss to Arkansas Pine Bluff, but they played them real tough. And then a few weeks later, they went on to upset Tennessee State on the road. That was a signature victory for the Lane College program. Yet they still find difficulty finding other Division I HBCUs to play against them. So, and in their matchup against Benedict College last year, Benedict on average beat their opponents 22 points. In last year's contest, Lane College lost to Benedict. They were blanked 14-0. So it's not like Benedict ran all over them. So that's a team you definitely have to look out for, the Lane College Dragons. And their athletic director, Derek Burrows, is doing an outstanding job with what resources they have to work with.
And Lane College was one of those programs that went on to have one of their players sign to the NFL as an undrafted free agent. You talk about that defense holding in Benedict to only 14 points. Andrew Farmer, a defensive lineman for Lane College last year, he signed as an undrafted free agent with the LA Chargers. So he's in the NFL pipeline now. That is going to be a big piece that they're losing when you talk about them being competitive this season. So we'll see if somebody can step in and fill that void on the defensive line.
Well, and moving back over to the offensive side, Jaquez Jones is on the 2023 Black College Football Hall of Fame watch list. He's a perennial wide receiver. He can get the job done. He's a big playmaker as well. Another team SIAC folks should look out for, the Allen University Yellow Jackets. Their starting quarterback, David Wright, he comes back from an injury that plagued him last year as well as the year before. His freshman year, he threw for over 2,500 yards for Coach Teddy Keaton, as well as 24 touchdowns. So the Allen University program, led by David Wright, I think they'll also be one of the surprise teams in the SIAC this season.
Well, it should be a good season of football in the SIAC. Make sure you guys are tapped in to HBCU Game Day on all platforms and have your notification bells on, because HBCU football is back and you don't want to miss any of the action. He is Duane Walker. I am Symone Stanley from our ATL studios. Until we talk to you guys next time.